Bull and Zach every week, the Ultimate Guardian Show. Make sure you guys tune in.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we talked about today's game, even though now Bybee is not pitching.
Right.
It is Ben Lively.
By the way, he's not injured. It's food poisoning. So it's not something to be worried about, but he's not pitching.
The Guardians have also reshuffled their rotation for Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, what is it?
They're leaving it open. Gavin Williams and Ortiz were supposed to pitch. Now it is going to be on a to-be-determined basis because Bybee might be able to pitch. It may be a one-day thing. So they're going to announce that later. So
My guess is Bybee will pitch one of those 2 days.
So stay tuned on that. Yeah. But I want to talk big picture with the Guardians. Now, they made the ALCS last season. They won the AL Central Division. When you look at the odds on FanDuel for the AL Central right now, the Guardians come in at plus 290. That is the third best odds to win the division. It's kind of a jambalaya there. Twins, the favorites, plus 210. Tigers, plus 230. Guardians, plus 290. The Royals, plus 310. And then the White Sox, 210 to 1.
Is the White Sox ever going to be like...
I mean, someday, but
is it really
their
that
roster
bad?
might be worse this year than last year.
It's really that bad.
How many White Sox can you name?
More than you think.
Louis
Andrew
Roberts
Vaughn
Jr.
Who's their closer?
Wait, hold on.
Mike Clevenger's their closer.
Mike Clevenger's their closer.
Allegedly.
Could Tyvis name more White Sox players than Bull can name St. John's players? That's the real question.
I don't think Tyvis can name any White Sox players. Most.
Louis Roberts, the junior, ain't there?
Yeah,
there you go. One guy.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
Sean Burke.
That's the same amount of Red Storm players Bull knows.
That's all I know.
No, I knew more than that.
I'd have to see.
But I forgot 2 names.
I'd have
Three
to
names.
look at their roster because it's probably another name on there.
Smith,
Oh, if you said
shortstop.
Mike Clevenger, I know Mike Clevenger.
What's closer. They're shortstop.
Lennon Sosa.
Sosa, not Smith. Sosa, yeah.
All right, so what do you guys think about the AL Central odds, though? Guardians third at plus 290.
Yeah.
Bull, when you look at this whole division, I know you've said, and you've gone back and forth
So
how you think it can finish.
I made my prediction this morning on the Ultimate Guardian Show. I think it's going to be very close. If you look at FanGraphs projections, they have every team in the American League East, all 5, within 5 games of each other at the end of the season. They have the 4 teams besides the White Sox in the Central, all within 5 games of each other at the end of the season. And in the West, they have the Mariners, Rangers, and Astros, all within 5 games, and then the A's and Angels within 10 games. So nobody is more than 10 games supposed to be out of first, except for the White Sox, based on FanGraph projections. I thought about this a lot because I think all 4 teams are fairly close. And here's what the tiebreaker ultimately was for me. Now, keep in mind that baseball, by far, the most unpredictable sport. Mm-hmm. We talked about this on the Guardian Show, right? LeBron James is not going to have a season. Well, I guess he could at 50, maybe. But LeBron James, in the middle of his career, forget LeBron James. He's too good. Donovan Mitchell is not going to have a game in the middle of a season, in the middle of his career, where all of a sudden he scores 13 points a game. Right? It's just never going to happen.
LeBron just did that last night.
No, you meant a season in the middle of
season.
his career.
Oh.
He's never going to have a season
where he
he
only
averages
scored
13 points.
Oh, yeah, no.
Right? In football, unless he's hurt, Patrick Mahomes is not going to have a season where he throws 10 touchdowns and 18 picks. Like, they don't, those extreme swings of the all-stars in those sports don't really happen, except for injury. Whereas in baseball, they happen. Cody Bellinger, MVP, then he gets non-tendered. Chris Bryant, first couple of years in the league, you thought he was going to be a Hall of Famer. He barely played for 5 years. I drafted him in like the 30th round of our fantasy draft. This happens all the time in baseball, and the place it happens even more than that, the most, is in bullpens. Bullpens are highly volatile and highly unpredictable. Even the best guys. It's very rare that guys are consistently good.
Will Milwaukee have a good bullpen? Because I think they were second to the Guardians last year.
They traded their closer, Devin Williams, to the Yankees, so we'll see. I think the bullpen will be okay, and they're a well-run organization.
Okay.
They're kind of a little bit of a National League version of the Guardians to some degree.
Yep.
But that being said, when I looked at the 4 teams and I looked at the lineups, I felt in the end that they're all pretty close. I think the Guardians lineup is better than the Tigers. I think it's just as good as the Twins. I'll put them a hair behind the Royals in lineup, but a slim hair. I think the Guardians have more upside in their lineup than the Royals. But they're relying on that upside more than the Royals are. So then I go to starting pitching. And I got the Royals with the slightly better lineup. So who's got a better starting staff? I think the Guardians have a better starting staff than the Royals, top to bottom. Not by a lot, but I got them ahead. I like the Tigers' starting rotation the most in this division, but their lineup is the worst. And the Twins' rotation is fine, just like their lineup is fine, but not special. So now I'm still neck and neck. They're all pretty close between starting pitching and rotation and lineup. But the bullpen is the difference maker. Even though it's unpredictable, I don't like the Tigers' bullpen at all. Their closer,
it's a mess.
Their closer for most of last year, Jason Foley, got sent down to the minors yesterday.
Yeah.
So who's going to be their closer? Their bullpen was great during that stretch the last 6 weeks. It was like 30-something games that they made the playoffs. Almost a third of those games were against the White Sox. That factored in. And they had a lot of young players that performed. But you can't pitch your bullpen for a full season like the Tigers did. That was even more extreme than the Guardians. They were throwing starters for like 2 innings. They can't do that all year. There is no short thing in their bullpen. The Royals' bullpen was terrible last year. They added Carlos Estevez, serviceable closer, better than what they had. They traded for Lucas Erceg at the end of last year. He's a nice young pitcher. Rest of their bullpen, highly volatile. Nobody's particularly impressive. Twins' bullpen, I like their closer. I like their setup guy. Rest of their bullpen, I don't really like. The Guardians' bullpen is good and deep, and it's better at the back end and deeper than all these teams. That's the edge. That's the biggest edge in this division is bullpen. The reason I'm not that confident they're going to win by that much is because bullpens are unpredictable. And the Guardians ultimately, offensively, are relying on a lot of upside.
Yeah.
So, but in the end, I think the top 4 teams in this division will finish 6 games apart. That'll be the separation. I got the Guardians winning 88, the Royals winning 85, the Tigers winning 83, and the Twins winning 82.
Dang.
That's what I got. I think all 4 will be good. I think it's going to be a race down to the end of the season, but I think the Guardians will pull it out at the end of the year with 88 wins.
Can I see those odds one more time?
Why are you so down on the
we'll pull it back
Twins
up.
like that?
I don't like Minnesota either.
There's nothing I love about their team.
No.
Like
I agree
all
with
of
that.
their bullpen's okay.
but
their rotation's okay.
every year it's like
Here's
they
the problem
hype
with the
them
Twins.
up every year.
Here's the problem with
You
the
can
Twins.
drop it, Mike.
The problem with the Twins is their 2 best players, Royce Lewis and Byron Buxton,
Can't stay
are
healthy.
always hurt.
Yeah.
Always. Lewis is already starting the season off the IL. And Buxton not only is always hurt, but now he's not that young anymore either. It's like, can he stay healthy? Can he stay? Well, now can he stay healthy? And he's 32 or whatever he is.
And I don't love
So-
their pitching staff. If I'm trying to make money, I'd probably take the Royals just on those odds.
Based on the odds, yes.
I think the Guardians will win the division. Like if I'm just picking a team to win the division, I would pick the Guardians. If I'm trying to make as much money as possible, I would take the Royals because I think it's really close between those two.
But the odds are really close.
Yeah, I
between
know
those
they
two.
are.
Yeah.
But I don't like the Twins at all.
I don't know why they're the favorites.
I don't either. It
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense. Detroit, I'm with you. I think they by the end of the year they could have the best rotation in the division.
Yeah.
Even better than Cleveland. But there's also a lot of question there. Casey Mize, Jackson Jobe. Is Jobe going to reach the potential?
Right.
Is Mize slider really going to play that much differently? So there's
And
too
who
many
do you
questions.
love in their lineup?
Nobody. No, even Riley Green is okay, but he's
Yeah.
not. Now he's young. He's still has
Right,
time.
there's
He could-
potential.
Yeah.
Like maybe this is the year Torkelson puts it together. Colt Keith's a nice young player.
Yeah, he's all right.
There's guys there, but
They don't-
Parker Meadows is going to miss half the year.
They don't have a lineup that hits the ball out of the park, nor do
No.
they have a stadium that hits the ball
No.
that is conducive to hitting it out of the park. So I would pick Cleveland to win the division, Kansas City second,
Yeah.
and Minnesota and Detroit. I don't really care the order
Yeah.
there, 3 and 4. I do think it'll be close. I'm with
Yeah.
you. I like Kansas City last year, and I like them even more this year. But like I said earlier, I'm a believer. I'm a truther, I guess is what they say now.
Yeah.
With Rocchio and Naylor, I think both of them
Yeah.
are going to have. I won't say big years. I think Rocchio is going to have a big year. I think
Yeah.
Naylor will regress in a good way, regress to the mean
Yeah.
of what they expected him to be.
I think if I'm the Royals, the thing I'm worried about beyond the bottom of their lineup and their pen a little bit, I could see regression coming for Waka and Lugo. Lugo had been kind of a journeyman. He always had potential, but he was so good last year
Yeah.
without strikeouts.
Yeah.
You can say the same thing about Ben Lively.
Oh yeah,
could,
absolutely.
yeah. And
but they're relying on Lugo more than the Guardians are relying on Lively.
Was Lively third in the rotation right now?
Yeah.
And where's
At the
Lugo?
moment.
Where's Lugo?
Second.
Oh, I thought he was.
I
third.
actually think Bubic could be really good.
Yeah,
for
and a
the
lot
Royals.
of people are high on him.
I
We'll
really
see.
like him.
Yeah.
For the sake of this show, because
Yeah.
anytime all three of us say the same thing, it never happens.
I don't know
So
if that's true, but
to
it might
say
be.
to save this, I'm going to take the Royals to
Yeah.
win the division, and I'm going to have the Guardians come in second place because I think Bobby Witt and them just got hot real good last year at the right moment, and I thought for a second I didn't think they'd win the division, but I thought that they would make the postseason and do some damage in the postseason. I think that they are inspired, and they're going to come out and play some really good baseball, and they're going to find a way to win the division in the end. But it won't be by much. I think it'll be by like 2 or 3 games.
I got a bold prediction for you.
Shoot.
Not Guardians related. The Yankees will not make the playoffs.
That ain't bold.
That's not bold?
No.
Nope.
They're the favorites in the American League. What are you talking about?
Not bold. Be better.